Let observation with extensive view survey mankind from China to Peru, remark each anxious toil, each eager strife, and watch the busy scenes of crowded life. Then say how hope and fear, desire and hate, o'erspread with snares the clouded maze of fate, where wavering man, betrayed by venturous pride, to tread the dreary paths without a guide, as treacherous phantoms in the mist delude, shuns fancied ills, or chases airy good. How rarely reason guides the stubborn choice, rules the bold hand, or prompts the suppliant voice. How nations sink, how darling schemes oppressed, when vengeance listens to the fool's request. Fate wings with every wish the afflictive dart, each gift of nature, and each grace of art. With fatal heat impetuous courage glows, with fatal sweetness elocution flows. Impeachment stops the speaker's powerful breath, and restless fire precipitates on death. But scarce observed the knowing and the bold fall in the general massacre of gold. Wide-wasting pest, the rages unconfined, and crowds with crimes the records of mankind. For gold his sword the hireling ruffian draws, for gold the hireling judge distorts the laws. Wealth heaped on wealth, nor truth nor safety buys. The dangers gather as the treasures rise. Let history tell where rival kings command, and dubious title shakes the matted land. When statutes glean the refuse of the sword, how much more safe the vassal than the lord. Low skulks the hind beneath the rage of power, and leaves the wealthy traitor in the tower. Untouched his cottage, and his slumbers sound, though confiscation's vultures hover round. The needy traveller, serene and gay, walks the wild heath and sings his toil away. Does envy seize thee, crush the upbraiding joy, increase his riches, and his peace destroy? Now fears and dire vicissitude invade, the rustling brake alarms and quivering shade. Nor light nor darkness bring his pain relief. One shows the plunder, and one hides the thief. Yet still one general cry the skies assails, and gain and grandeur load the tainted gales. Few know the toiling statesman's fears or care, the insidious rival and the gaping heir. Once more Democritus arise on earth, with cheerful wisdom and instructive mirth. See motley life in modern trappings dressed, and feed with varied fools the eternal jest. Thou, who couldst laugh where wont enchanted caprice, toil-crushed conceit, and man was of a piece. Where wealth unloved without a mourner died, and scarce a sycophant was fed by pride. Where ne'er was known the form of mock debate, or seen a new-made mayor's unwieldy state. Where change of favourites made no change of laws, and senates heard before they judged a cause. How wouldst thou shake at Britain's modish tribe, dart the quick taunt, and edge the piercing gibe? Attentive truth and nature to descry, and pierce each scene with philosophic eye. To thee were solemn toys or empty show, the robes of pleasure and the veils of woe. All aid the farce, and all thy mirth maintain, whose joys are causeless or whose griefs are vain. Such was the scorn that filled the sage's mind, renewed at every glance on humankind. How just that scorn, ere yet thy voice declare, search every state and canvass every prayer. Unnumbered suppliants crowd preferment's gate, athirst for wealth and burning to be great. Delusive fortune hears the incessant call. They mount, they shine, evaporate, and fall. On every stage the foes of peace attend, hate dogs their flight, and insult mocks their end. Love ends with hope, the sinking statement's door pours in the morning worshipper, no more. For growing names the weekly scribbler lies, to growing wealth the dedicator flies. From every room descends the painted face, that hung the bright palladium of the place, and smoked in kitchens or in auctions sold, to better features yields the frame of gold. For now no more we trace in every line heroic worth, benevolence divine. The form distorted justifies the fall, and of detestations rid the indignant wall. But will not Britain hear the last appeal, sign her woes' doom, or guard her favourite's zeal? Through freedom's sons no more remonstrance rings, degrading nobles and controlling kings. Our supple tribe repress their patriot throats, and ask no questions but the price of votes. With weekly libels and septennial ale, their wish is full to riot and to rail. In full-blown dignity see Wolsey stand, law in his voice and fortune in his hand. To him the church, the realm their powers consign, Through him the rays of regal bounty shine. Turned by his nod, the stream of honor flows. His smile alone security bestows. Still to new heights his restless wishes tout. Claim leads to claim, and power advances power, till conquest unresisted ceased to please, and right submitted left him none to seize. At length his sovereign frowns the train of state, mark the king glance, and watch the sign to hate. Wherever he turns, he meets a stranger's eye, his suppliants scorn him, and his followers fly. Now drops at once the pride of awful state, the golden canopy, the glittering plate, the regal palace, the luxurious board, the liveried army, and the menial lord. With age, with cares, with maladies oppressed, he seeks the refuge of monastic rest. Grief aids disease, remembered folly stings, and his last sighs reproach the faith of kings. Speak thou, whose thoughts at humble peace repine, shall Wolsey's wealth with Wolsey's end be thine? Or list thou now with safer pride content the wisest justice on the banks of Trent? For why did Wolsey near the steeps of fate on weak foundations raise the enormous weight? Why but to sink beneath misfortune's blow with louder ruins to the gulfs below? What gave great Villiers to the assassin's knife, and fixed disease on Harley's closing life? What murdered Wentworth, and what exiled Hyde, by kings protected and to kings allied? What but their wish indulged in courts to shine, and power too great to keep or to resign? When first the college rolls receive his name, the young enthusiast quits his ease for fame. Through all his veins the fever of renown spreads from the strong contagion of the gown. O'er Bodley's dome his future labors spread, and Bacon's mansion trembles o'er his head. Are these thy views? Proceed, illustrious youth, and virtue guard thee to the throne of truth. Yet should thy soul indulge the generous heat, till captive science yields her last retreat. Should reason guide thee with her brightest ray, and pour on misty doubt resistless day. Should no false kindness lure to loose delight, nor praise relax, nor difficulty fright. Should tempting novelty thy call refrain, and sloth effuse her opiate fumes in vain. Should beauty blunt on fops her fatal dart, nor claim the triumph of a lettered heart. Should no disease thy torpid veins invade, nor melancholy's phantoms haunt thy shade. Yet hope not life from grief or danger free, nor think the doom of man reversed for thee. Deign on the passing world to turn thine eyes, and pause awhile from letters to be wise. There mark what ills the scholar's life assail, toil, envy, want, the patron, and the jail. See nations, slowly, wise, and meanly just, to buried merit raise the tardy bust. If dreams yet flatter, once again attend, hear Lydiat's life and Galileo's end. Nor deem, when learning her last prize bestows, the glittering eminence exempt from woes. See, when the vulgar scape, despised or awed, rebellion's vengeful talons seize on laud. From meaner minds, those smaller finds content, the plundered palace or sequestered rent. Marked out by dangerous parts, he meets the shock, and fatal learning leads him to the block. Around his tomb let art and genius weep, but hear his death, ye blockheads, hear and sleep. The festal blazes, the triumphal show, the ravished standard, and the captive woe. The Senate's thanks, the Gazette's pompous tale, with force resistless o'er the brave prevail. Such bribes the rapid Greek or Asia world, for such the steady Romans shook the world. For such in distant lands the Britons shine, and stain with blood the Danube or the Rhine. This power has praise, that virtue scarce can warm, till fame supplies the universal charm. Yet reason frowns on war's unequal game, where wasted nations raise a single name, and mortgaged states their grandsires' wreaths regret, from age to age in everlasting debt. Wreaths which, at last, the dear-bought right convey, to rust on metals or on stones decay. On what foundation stands the warrior's pride? How just his hopes, let Swedish Charles decide. A frame of adamant, a soul of fire, no dangers fright him, and no labors tire. Or love or fear extends his wide domain, unconquered lord of pleasure and of pain. No joys to him pacific scepters yield. War sounds the trump, he rushes to the field. Behold surrounding kings their powers combine, and one capitulate, and one resign. Peace courts his hand, but spreads her charms in vain, Think nothing gained, he cries, till naught remain. On Moscow's walls till Gothic standards fly, and all be mine beneath the polar sky. The march begins in military state, and nations on his eye suspended wait. Stern famine guards the solitary coast, and winter barricades the realm of frost. He comes, nor want nor cold his course delay. Hide blushing glory, hide Pultowa's day. The vanquished hero leaves his broken bands, and shows his miseries in distant lands, condemned a needy supplicant to wait, while ladies interpose and slaves debate. But did not chance at length her error mend? Did no subverted empire mark his end? Did rival monarchs give the fatal wound? Or hostile millions press him to the ground? His fall was destined to a barren strand, a petty fortress in a dubious hand. He left the name at which the world grew pale, to point a moral or adorn a tale. All times their scenes of pompous woes afford, from Persia's tyrant to Bavaria's lord, and gay hostility and barbarous pride, with half mankind embattled at his side. Great Xerxes came to seize the certain prey, and starves exhausted regions in his way. Attendant flattery counts his myriads o'er, till counted myriads soothe his pride no more. Fresh praise is tried till madness fires his mind. The waves he lashes and enchains the wind. New powers are claimed, new powers are still bestowed, till rude resistance lops the spreading god. The daring Greeks deride the martial show, and heap their valleys with the gaudy foe. The insulted sea with humbler thoughts he gains, a single skiff to speed his flight remains. The encumbered oar scarce leaves the dreaded coast, through purple billows and a floating host. The bold Bavarian in a luckless hour tries the dread summits of Caesarian power. With unexpected legions burst away, and sees defenseless realms receive his sway. Short sway, fair Austria spreads her mournful charms. The queen, the beauty, sits the world in arms. From hill to hill the beacon's rousing blaze spreads wide the hope of plunder and of praise. The fierce Croatian and the wild hussar, with all the sons of ravage, crowd the war. The baffled prince, in honor's flattering bloom of hasty greatness, finds the fatal doom. His foes' derision and his subjects' blame, and steals to death from anguish and from shame. Enlarge my life with a multitude of days, in health and sickness thus the suppliant prays, hides from himself his state, and shuns to know that life protracted is protracted woe. Time hovers o'er, impatient to destroy, and shuts up all the passages of joy. In vain their gifts the bounteous seasons pour, the fruit autumnal in the vernal flower. With listless eyes the dotard views the store. He views and wonders that they please no more. Now pull the tasteless meats and joyless wines. In luxury with sighs her slave resigns. Approach, ye minstrels, try the soothing strain. Diffuse the tuneful lenitives of pain. No sounds, alas, would touch the impervious ear, though dancing mountains witnessed Orpheus near. Nor lute nor lyre his feeble powers attend, nor sweeter music of a virtuous friend. But everlasting dictates crowd his tongue, perversely grave or positively wrong. The still returning tale and lingering jest perplex the fawning niece and pampered guest, while growing hopes scarce awe the gathering sneer, and scarce a legacy can bribe to hear. The watchful guests still hint the last offence, the daughter's petulance, the son's expense, improve his heady rage with treacherous skill, and mould his passions till they make his will. Unnumbered maladies his joints invade, lay siege to life, and press the dire blockade. But unextinguished avarice still remains, and dreaded losses aggravate his pains. He turns, with anxious heart and crippled hands, his bonds of debt and mortgage of lands, or views his coffers with suspicious eyes, unlocks his gold, and counts it till he dies. But grant the virtues of a temperate prime, blessed with an age exempt from scorn or crime, an age that melts with unperceived decay, and glides in modest innocence away, whose peaceful day benevolence endears, whose night congratulating conscience cheers. The general favorite as the general friend, such age there is, and who shall wish its end? Yet e'en on this her load misfortune flings, to press the weary minute's flagging wings. New sorrow rises as the day returns, a sister sickens or a daughter mourns. New kindred merits fills the sable bier, new lacerated friendship claims a tear. Year chases year, decay pursues decay, still drops from joy from withering life away. New forms arise and different views engage. Superfluous lags the veteran on the stage, till pitying nature sings that the last release, and bids afflicted worth retire to peace. But few there are whom hours like these await, who sit unclouded in the gulfs of fate. From Lydia's monarch should the search descend, by sullen caution to regard his end. In life's last scene with what prodigies surprise, fears of the brave and follies of the wive. From Marlb's rough eyes the streams of dotage flow, and swift expires a driveler and a show. The teeming mother, anxious for her race, begs for each birth the fortune of a face. Yet vain could tell what ills from beauty spring, and Sedley's curse the form that pleased the king. Ye nymphs of rosy lips and radiant eyes, with whom pleasure keeps too busy to be wise, whom joys with soft varieties invite, by day the frolic and the dance by night, who frown with vanity, who smile with art, and ask the latest fashion of the heart. What care, what rules, your heedless charms shall save, each nymph your rival, in each youth your slave. Against your fame with fondness hate combines, the rival batters and the lover minds. With distant voice neglected virtue calls, less heard and less the faint remonstrance falls. Tired with contempt she quits the slippery rein, and pride and prudence take her seat in vain, and crowd at once where none the past defend, the harmless freedom and the private friend. The guardians yield, by force superior plied, to interest prudence, and to flattery pride. Here beauty falls, betrayed, despised, distressed, and hissing infamy proclaims the rest. Where then shall hope and fear their objects find? Must dull suspense corrupt the stagnant mind? Must helpless man, in ignorance sedate, roll darkling down the torrent of his fate? Must no dislike alarm, no wishes rise, no cries invoke the mercies of the skies? Inquirer, cease, petitions yet remain, which heaven may hear, nor deem religion vain. Still raise for good the supplicating voice, but leave to heaven the measure and the choice. Safe in his power, whose eyes discern afar the secret ambush of a spacious prayer. Implore his aid, in his decisions rest. Secure whatever he gives the best. Yet when the sense of sacred presence fires, and strong devotion to the skies aspires, pour forth thy fervors for a healthful mind, obedient passions, and a will resigned. For love, which scarce collective man can fill, for patience, sovereign or transmuted ill, for faith that, panting for a happier seat, counts death kind nature's signal of retreat. These goods for man the laws of heaven ordain, these goods he grants, who grants the power to gain. With these celestial wisdom calms the mind, and makes the happiness she does not find.